to FreshMinds, the show for leaders and contributors who know that AI is changing the game of work and want to thrive in ways only humans know how to. I'm Mitch Simon. I design and facilitate leadership and team retreats for companies that are growing fast and trying to figure out how to stay human while everything around them gets automated. In this show, we're not talking about AI from a technical angle. We're talking about what you need to do differently as a leader, a manager, a teammate in a world where a lot of the so-called smart stuff can be handled by machines. And I'm not doing it alone. I'm joined by two people who have literally built a new game of business, Ronen Gafni and Simcha Gluck. Simcha unfortunately can't be with us today. Ronen is the creator of the business game FreshBiz and a TEDx speaker. Together, they've helped thousands of people experience what it feels like to stop playing the old zero-sum game of business and start playing a new one. Today, we'll find out what you must do now to heighten your value in the marketplace, which means to stop playing the game that got you to where you are now. We'll share vulnerably the games that we're having trouble letting go of and the new games that we're tackling to enhance our value in the marketplace for talent. So today we have Ronen. We don't have Simcha. Ronen, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm excited. Kind of like launched the mobile version of the Digital Village platform that I'm creating. So it's exciting that people can join conversation using the mobile. And I wrote a post about it yesterday, why I build, desktop first platforms instead of like mobile first platforms in a world that everyone walks around with a mobile phone. I got an insight about this like yesterday. So I think it's going to be, part of what we're going to talk about it today, because I think it has to do a lot with what's AI doing for all of us here.
Okay, great. Yeah. Today what we want to talk about is, given our last episode, is the game that you're playing now, because what AI, I believe, is forcing us to do is to actually rethink what it is that we have, what has made us succeed so far. So, for instance, the game that I've been playing, the game I started playing was I'm a coach, and I coach one-on-one executives. And then the next game I was playing was doing, let's say, team events or team strategy. And again, it was kind of the typical stuff where I'm focusing on building a strategy across a company and then executing on that strategy. But now what's happened is AI is bringing in so many different ideas. There's so many things that AI can do. AI can actually coach people now. I still don't believe it's going to coach an individual as well as someone with insight around it. But the new game, which we'll explore, would have to have me understand what AI is doing as it's encroaching, and then I would start to pivot a new direction as to what is the target market, and what I bring to the table to the target market as the target market starts to shift. So as we started this episode just a few minutes ago, we were saying, well, what would a podcast have to do? What would a podcast have to shift in order to play a new game? So I guess I would ask you, Ronen, is what do you believe the rules for a podcast were? Let's say last year, and what do you think the sense that a podcast needs to bring today, such that the game has actually changed?
Interesting. I think that it really depends on the type of the podcast, because some of them are more, let's say they are like those lifestyle podcasts that just like, you talk about stuff because it's fun. You want to have like a good time. And that's one part of it. There is the ones that are, delivering content. And I think this is might be less relevant. And I think that what mostly relevant now is the thought provocative podcasts. I think those that helps you generate new ideas. I think that if you finish listening to a podcast that raises new questions in your mind, I think that's what we are aiming for. I think that everything that has to do with more creative thinking, reframing things that we used to think about in a certain way, and now we're like reframing them. I think that's the idea behind the new podcasts, just to push the envelope a bit more. I think that's where it becomes interesting. I think that at the point where AI stops becoming a useful tool because it can come up with creative ideas, this is where human, goes back into the picture and pushing things forward.
Yeah, I do believe that the podcasts need to have you think a different way. And I guess in this podcast, what we're looking at, which is hard to explain, because the game that you're playing, what is the game? The game to me is having a certain goal in mind. So we think the goal is something, but it's changed. And then the thinking that you need to shift as the game has in fact changed. So in FreshBiz, we played this game where everyone believes going into the game that they must win. But in fact, winning is a collective win. And it's so difficult to move people from understanding that a game, which most people think a game is like Monopoly, where I need to win for myself, it's really hard to push. And usually most people fail to understand that this is a collective game that people need to come together on for a collective prize. To reframe that today is to understand, what game you're playing. I think a lot of people still believe that I'm climbing the corporate ladder, and I am going to increase, let's say, my ability to make money in this company based on my own contribution. Where it looks like today, what's happening is that, and I see it in all the workshops I do, is people's breakdowns, and especially given AI, because I can go to AI for all my answers. The breakdown is the old game I'm playing is to, quote unquote, do it myself, enhance my own position, enhance my own department at the expense of the other departments. And so I'm never creating this collective work around the different departments, the collective work around my colleagues to actually enhance the value of the company. There seems to be something there. As the world becomes, quote unquote, easier to find answers through AI, what happens to this new game as the need for more collectivism is running through the work? It was something that only humans can do well.
I definitely agree with what you said, that the old game was about meeting my own personal goals. And I think that the entire game is structured that way, because you get like a personal KPI and you need to meet those KPIs, and you are going to be compensated and evaluated based on those. And on the other hand, we've been asked to play a collaborative game, which is interesting, because just last week I consulted a company regarding a team event they are going to have, which is like the annual event of about 100 people that gets together from different countries around the globe, and this is like the only time around the year that they actually get together. And one of the main attributes or dimensions that they would like to work on is collaboration. So my first question was like, are you basically measuring collaboration? How do you measure collaboration? Any of the compensation is based on collaboration? Like, how do you support that, want to have people more collaborating? The answer was like mostly like what I hear everywhere was like, yeah, we have like this bonus that is based on the revenues of the company, and the company is like actually doing good, so everybody win on some level, which is nice, but I don't think that this is enforcing collaboration, because you would probably, get fired for not meeting your own personal KPIs more than you can trust the global bonus for good achievements of the company. So the scarcity is still, or the fear-based game is still more about your personal goals rather than helping the company grow. And I think that it's a very important question to ask. How do you actually measure collaboration? Because, in FreshBiz, part of what we count as collaboration is, do you help other people win their game? Okay? So do you have any kind of measurement at the end of the year that you check, like how many people said that I helped them achieve their KPIs, and maybe my bonus can be aligned with that? Like, because if not, then we are still playing the old game. So I think that the new game has to do a lot with finding new ways on how to measure the activities that we expect from humans, so we can actually accelerate collaboration and creativity. Because, at the end of the day, this is what we are left with: decision making and pushing the ideas forward. So, okay, decision making, nice. Okay. I can't even know if I'm like creative enough or curious enough or courage enough in my decision making. The only metrics that I have is, did I meet my KPIs? Now, this is like a very short term, because you'll never know if I did something that will provide us really good results in 2 or 3 years, because everything is changing. So how do you measure this? So I think that the new game is about finding new ways and being brave enough to come up with new metrics to measure success and collaboration and creativity to enhance the human element in the workplace.
Right. One of the new games actually is collective creativity and collective outcomes. And that would be at a team level or at a company level. So then the question is, how would you actually look at what you need to do for yourself to actually play in this collective game, right? You would, and then you would be looking at, okay, so how much of my everyday work is about my conversations with the other people who are my colleagues, as well as understanding that my outcomes need to be more about my collaboration and my conversations around it. So that's a very new game that I think most people fail at, just because we see it whenever we launch a FreshBiz game. And I was wondering, how would you encourage that new type of thinking? Because I really do think that in this new world where AI is doing a lot of the, let's say, individual type of thinking, how would you shift it if you were, let's say, if you were either a coach coming in or actually leading a large corporate organization?
Well, I think that one major shift that we need to do is to start thinking in the terms of small and dynamic teams instead of like individual achievements. Because I think that what's happening now is that because we have kind of like a single-minded metrics for success, then we push forward very specific type of people that meet that criteria of measurement. And we kind of like losing all the other people that has a different operating system. Because let's say there are people that are really great in supporting other people's goals, for example. Right? They are great supporters. Giving those people like an individual metrics for success it's not the thing that makes them shine. They shine in small teams. They are like really good people that are great in initiating new ideas, but they need someone else to carry on the idea and execute it. So they are also not the ones who are going to shine enough if they're only measured on the execution level. So I think that what we are turning into are like much smaller, more dynamic teams that can create really great results together. And I'm emphasizing dynamic because I think it's really interesting to be able to find the right team for you every few months or every few weeks to kind of like join together for a project and then move on to another team and then move on to another team and create an environment that knowledge flows and creativity flows and skills flows and talent flows in a more dynamic way inside the company. Because I believe that companies are turning into facilitators of creative ideas, of new ideas. I think that because they have so many resources, they become kind of like I would say incubators for innovation, and they gotta be more flexible. Otherwise, the outside, very fast entrepreneurial, community-based environments of business will take over because it's so easy to do things with AI now. So what's left for a company? It's the massive structure and the massive resources. So you have to connect this with a lot of flexibility. So I think this is also part of what needs to be changed. Like the corporate structure, it's another thing that we need to break. We need to reframe. We need to rebuild so we can enjoy faster movement with inside those teams. And that will enhance, again, like what's possible. So collaboration with movement, flexibility, access to resources. I think that's the reframing of the game for companies.
Yeah, I really, really like that. The new game is, am I a good, fast, flexible facilitator around different people in the company who I wouldn't work with normally to actually create innovative ideas? And I think if a lot of people looked at themselves, this is the thinking part, to say, well, am I that person? Am I actually focused on that flexibility, that facilitation? I think a lot of people would say no. And they would say, and I don't want to play that game actually, because it's going to quote unquote, take me away from the game I've always played, which is that singular focus on my department. Yeah.
Yeah. But on that case, you'll have to be one who's managing like 70 bots, and that's very lonely. So maybe for some people, this is great to be like a manager of bots, and they get rid of like the most interruptive element in life, which is like other people. No, and now they have like their own paradise of digital entities that they can manage the way they want. And maybe for some people, this is heaven for them. But I think that for many other people, it becomes very lonely and very technical. And if I'm only now measured by my ability to motivate it's not about motivating, it's about running, managing digital entities. So what hell am I doing here? Like it's like we are back to, standing next to a machine, rolling the wheel, hoping that, some buttons will end up in the, at the end of the day, at the end of the industrial manufacturing lines. It's kind of like 100 years back. We became knowledge workers. We needed other people. We interacted with other people, and now we are alone again. So for those who care about creating new things, for those who are builders, for those who are more community people, I think that we have to redesign the structure of a company, the compensation, the measurements, all of that has to be changed. Otherwise, we'll just be left with the blue collars workers that needs to operate the machine. They just like probably wearing like black t-shirts at this time, but that's it.
Yeah. What I'm wondering is where the change comes from, because I believe that if a leader basically says, "Hey, I'm going to now reward you all based on more of a team bonus or whatever," will that actually change people's behaviors? I think it will for a bit. On the other end, I believe that a lot of it is wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee, which I believe is happening. I believe you agree with this, which is AI is pushing humans to be more human. And I think we've been saying this over and over. And pushing humans to be more human, which means, pushing us to actually act like humans are only around before the machines are actually there, would require us to facilitate innovation amongst human beings, because as we've said, the AI cannot create what hasn't been created yet. AI is very good at pattern recognition of things that have happened before. So if on the robot side we are able to utilize AI really well for things that have happened before, it's going to create individuals being very good at facilitating connection among different people. And that, I believe, is where I'm being pushed as a leadership coach and a leadership facilitator, which is to go into organizations. And the organizations are starting to ask for it, even though they don't know they're asking for it, which is, we need someone who can come in and actually create connection among either the CEO and his people or the people that work with the CEO. And it seems to be a blind spot. And it seems to be let's say the game that no one is willing to start to dive into, but that is where I'm seeing all the value is. So for me, the new game is, what am I doing on a day-to-day basis that is actually having people learn how to connect with each other and keep that connection, and utilize it to come up with innovation, come up with new ideas, come up with new systems that actually leverage the power of human beings.
I totally agree. And I come from the point of view of an entrepreneur. I think that, people needs to be more entrepreneurial.
Yes.
That's my belief. And, cycling back to what I said at the beginning, when I wrote a post about, why I'm building desktop first platforms, is because I recognize that what I'm building is for builders. I think that people that are using mobile phones, basically, they are most of the time in a consumer mindset. You consume, you take knowledge from the system, and those who are sitting next to a computer, desktop or a laptop, are the builders. Those are the ones who are like actually building something. It's very hard to build a platform using vibe coding on your phone, using your phone. You have to be near a big screen and you need to be near a computer. It's very hard to, edit videos or create art on all of those when you don't have a computer. And I think that it says something about the mindset of people in an organization as well. I think that we are looking for the builders. We are looking for people that contribute to the system something that wasn't there before. You said very correctly that AI is really good at pattern recognition. Now it takes it from the info that we put into the system. Now I'm constantly asking, am I putting enough new ideas and data into the system so it can evolve, or am I just like pulling information? If we're all just like pulling information, some point it will kind of like start hallucinating on its own patterns. And I saw a reel on Instagram today, which like I think has to do a lot with this, that says, it was like, why are we dreaming? And it says that they trained an AI model on some data, and is really good in pattern recognition. But when they did it too much, when they over trained him, instead of like understanding the patterns, he kind of like started memorizing the sequences, specific sequences, which means that once you start asking him more advanced questions, he couldn't go back to understand the pattern out of it. And then they took it into dreaming. Like most of us are doing, every day doing like the same routine. We wake up in the same house. We are drinking the same coffee. We're going to the same office. We meet the same people. We might be kind of like repeating those same routines up to the point that we can come up with any new ideas. Dreaming is there to take us on a new journey, meeting new people, visiting new places, coming out with like new architectural structures that we never thought exist, or going through adventures that teach us on how to think in a creative way, in a different way. And I think that this is what's needed nowadays. We need enough dreamers to throw us in new directions, so we won't get stuck in doing more of the same up until the point then that we can't come up with new ideas. If you are using Waze too much or Google Maps too much, you wouldn't know your way home from like 20 minutes away because you're so relied on this. And I think that we are so relying on this. Most of us are only consumers. We only get knowledge out of the system instead of like putting new ideas into the system. And I think that the humans that will be the most valuables are the dreamers, the builders, the makers, those who are creating new things. And I think that the best way to do it is, with other people that has other skills and other ideas and other talents. And if you are fast enough, if you are flexible enough, this is why I suggested, to ever change the teams, because otherwise, accounting only knows how to do accounting and marketing only knows how to do marketing. And they get to the point that they can't even talk to each other, which is crazy. But this is where we are called into a company, because marketing can talk to accounting and come up with a new creative idea to do something together or even get along. Right? Why do we have so many conversations about collaboration in companies where like companies are like 250 years old or whatever, 300 years old? Like, haven't we figured it out how people should collaborate after all those many years? No, because we are not enforcing encounters that teaches people to get together and to find their people. We just getting people. We put them in a department with other people they never chose to work with, and they need to get along. And the freedom of choice to find the people that you are most valuable with, creative with, innovative with, it's out of the game. So I think that's part of the new game is like, give me the power to pick my own team, to create something that I'm excited about, and then let's see what happens.
I think, I do think the new game, you've been mentioning dreamers, builders, and makers for decades now. And I do think, right, and I do think that the new game will actually be listening to you and understanding that in my job, I do need to wake up every day, figure out where I can break patterns. I need to wake up every day and figure out who I need to connect to. And I need to wake up every day and understand what are some new ideas I can bring to the table with other people around me. So I do think that this, this is why I always say AI is the push for humans to be more human, because humans have, at least what we see, they've lost the ability to make those connections that wouldn't necessarily happen. We are brought into, let's say, elbow or kick people to start to have those conversations. But I do think that the new game is to really let go of, I've got all the answers, or myself and my machine have all the answers, where what we need to do as to play the new game is to learn how to coordinate action amongst people we wouldn't normally go to. So as a leadership coach, or as a team leadership coach, I just see myself being pulled to, okay, what are the things I can focus on that are going to have people connect in a brand new way that they wouldn't have connected to before. And that's what I'm being pulled to do. Yeah. Whereas I think I was in the past more focused on, let's say, dyed-in-the-wool strategic planning.
Mm-hmm.
I still think people,
I think that, one more change in the game that people should have, or corporates should have, is stop being afraid of working less hours. I think that we need to start working less. I think that we talked about this in one of our previous episodes. Like, what do you do with all the free time that you have now because AI is doing part of your job? That's a question. I think that most people don't do anything with it because they don't actually feel they have more free time, because they find something else to do, because you just push more tasks into it. And I started experimenting with this myself. I said, okay, I'm sending a prompt to, in my case, ChatGPT or Base 44 to build my platform. So now I have a few minutes that the AI is doing my job that I don't have to do. What am I doing with those few minutes? Right? So I have a small balcony in my office. So I started going out to the balcony every time I send a prompt, and I have a few minutes for the machine to do their thing, and just sit in the sun. Right? Just get some sun every few minutes for a few minutes while the AI is doing what it's doing. Now, this is priceless. This is priceless on different levels. First of all, I get some sun. That's awesome. Yeah, I get some fresh air. I get to look around my garden. It's awesome. But I'm also training my brain to break out of patterns, to break out of constantly doing the work. A new idea can come up, a new conversation. I can call someone. Something is starting to happen differently because I now have some free time. So not everyone has a balcony next to his office in every company to walk outside, but you can definitely say, look, I'll throw into the AI some work for some agents, and now I have 20 minutes, and let's go talk to someone. Let's have I don't know, an AI bot rest corner in the office that everyone who's sent their bots to do some work can meet there to just talk about it, right? Or just talk about whatever. Let's get people together in those 3 minutes or hours that they now have. I think this has to go into part of what the new game is all about. It's you have to recognize and acknowledge that using AI saves some time, and you want to use that time not in order to do some more work, because that puts more pressure on people, but actually to give them that time off to do something else, to think about something else, to meet other people, to refresh for a second. I think that's a game changer by itself. I think that companies are too afraid to actually do it.
It's beautiful what you're saying. The bots are going to go out and chunk data. The time is there. The opportunity is there.
Exactly.
but is the mindset there, right? So you could almost say that the new game if you would simplify it, the new game in an AI world is for you to be more human. And being more human means that you're spending more time with other humans.
Yeah. Or in nature or dreaming or whatever. Like you spend less time working. If AI actually saves you work, show it to me. Prove it to me. Otherwise, you are the machine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think we, in our next episode, we could actually talk about if the new mindset is to be a dreamer and a maker and a builder. What does that look like? So for people who are saying, okay, I'm buying your message, what does it look like? Just help me see it because I don't see it. It really is, I believe, that making time for sitting with others, asking different questions, talking about how to make the work more meaningful, how to make the work more streamlined, how to make the work better, how to come up with different outcomes. And I think a lot of it also is, let's have a conversation. How am I doing as a human being? Right? You know, what is my mindset? How is it doing? And I really do think that that's probably where it's going to go. And I do think it's just like FreshBiz, hasn't yet solved the world's problems. I do think that having people be more human is still going to be difficult for most humans. But
we see this in FreshBiz all the time. We see what happens when the team takes like 5 minutes just to stop working, stop playing the game, and just like get in conversation, understand the mindset, collaborate, and then they keep on playing the game. It's a totally different game. It's a totally different game once they like took a few minutes off work to actually get to know each other for a second, think together on what they want to do, share some ideas, and then relaunch the game. It's a game changer for everyone.
Yeah, and every time I've facilitated the game and I say, okay, let's stop. We've gone for 30 minutes. I just want you to stop and review what you're doing and to think a different way. People immediately go, yeah, whatever he said, and then just continue doing what's not working the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I remember, like, again, whenever we stop the game at the 30-minute point and we start explaining like what's possible, how they can look things in a different way, I always talk like really slow. I kind of like, okay, guys, I want to tell you some things about what's possible in the game. And I'm like really, really slowing my my tone and my speed of speaking. And you see people like already want to keep on playing the game, want to keep on throwing the dice. And I always say, look, if you are like really eager to go back to play the game, you're probably the type of people that like to work harder than smarter, because you are so eager to go back to doing more of the same that you've already done, instead of just like holding for a second. Maybe I'll bring you an insight that will save you a lot of time. Right? So, and then I get some of their attention. Now, it sounds really reasonable when you ask someone, do you like to work harder or smarter? Everybody will say smarter. But how many people actually, push pause in the middle of the day and say, look, I'm working too hard. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, we have AI. We didn't have it like 2 years ago. I'm still like 8 hours in the office, 9 hours in the office. Like, what's happening here? Let's push pause for a second. Nobody's actually doing it. So I think it's time to push pause for a second.
I do think so too. I do think that the new game, and it's been your tagline forever. The new game is to work smarter, not harder. It's to look at what's going on with AI and what AI is basically telling us, which is the robot is saying, I am giving you more time to be more human. Go be more human. Don't be a robot.
Exactly.
So great. Yeah. Well, thank you for this. I do think next time let's explore what it means to work smarter, not harder, with this new free time. And to our listeners, thank you so much. Ronen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on our next episode of the Fresh Minds Podcast.
See you next time.